Welcome back to another episode of Saturday Afternoon Gaming. I'm your host, Gaming Jay, and today we are hopping into the very first PS4 game I have ever played for my channel. And if you were expecting some giant blockbuster, you are going to be disappointed because this is actually a charming, one of the most charming indie games I think I have played in a long time. There are many great indie games that I love, but Thomas Was Alone here has so much personality and style, and it's remarkable because, as you will see, this is a minimalist game. You control a simple polygon named Thomas. Thomas is a red block. You can draw him if you have a ruler and a red crayon. It's remarkably easy. Yet this game, surprisingly, has a great story, great characters. The sound is amazing. The narration is amazing. It's just amazing what you can do with so little. So here's the title screen. You might not even know that you're in a game. But without further ado, let's hop in here and I can continue to blather on as we actually play the game. So let's see what Thomas Is Alone is all about. We're entering the world of AI. The program was a failure. People forget this. It was a massive flop. The coders started adding name strings to the AIs as a joke. Thomas AT23612.
Thomas was alone. Wow. A weird first thought to have.
Oh man, just listen to the music and the narration. I'm gonna stop talking just for a little bit so we can take some of this in, but the music and the narration, it makes you feel both hopeful and alone.
Thomas decided to start listing his observations for posterity. 1. The whole alone thing. 2. Portals. They led somewhere. He'd yet to work out where. 3. Falling. Thomas was absolutely fantastic at falling. He was almost as good at falling as he was at observing.
Oh, I love it. So this game was originally released as a Flash game, by the way, and it was slowly ported over to Windows, PS3, it's now on iOS, it's on Linux, it's on virtually everything. It kind of reminds me of like the old days of video games where a system would be released on like the Commodore 64 and it'd be ported to like the Atari ST and to like, everything, arcade, NES, Amstrad, CPC, BBC Micro, like it was just like on everything. That's kind of what Thomas Was Alone is like.
Dangerous. The world was not to be trusted. It was unstable, and it seemed to Thomas that it could let him down at any moment.
I don't know how you guys feel about this music, but it honestly, like, it does make me feel a little sad. It's like this sad and hopeful game. So if you haven't figured it out yet, this game is about AIs that have become sentient, self-aware, and they perceive their world as a flat 2D environment. And so this is a very simple platformer game, and you just sort of have to jump around. You get these awesome narrations. We're not going through all the narrations, obviously. If you want to go back and play this, I highly recommend. It's totally a game worth picking up. It's simple, yet fun, but the narration does add like a whole other element to it. So, if you are curious, if you would rather be listening to the narrator than listening to me, I definitely recommend checking it out. The game is 100% worth it. Also, these early levels act as like really effective tutorials. Like, oops.
He didn't like it.
Well, we got to use that checkpoint right away because I died stupidly instantly. But I am a big fan of games showing rather than telling. I mean, I guess they are telling you how to play in this game. Oh, we finally have our first complicated level. But each level sort of just introduced one new mechanic, and we slowly build up to levels where we have to integrate the mechanics. I like that. It's a much better way of showing players how to play your game rather than just telling them. But as we will see soon, Thomas is not going to be alone forever. Spoilers, I suppose. Although we're going to see, like, literally in, like, the next level or two. Thomas is going to find friends, so he's not totally alone. This game, by the way, the idea for this game came out of a 24-hour game jam where the developer basically had the idea... Thomas has becoming self-aware, guys, if you're paying attention to the narration. He's becoming smarter and more powerful. This little cube is gonna cause problems for all of humanity when this is like how Skynet got started, I'm pretty sure. Maybe Thomas is like, maybe this is Skynet, who knows. This level is actually pretty fun too. There's lots of cool mechanics here. With the floors moving, and we'll see more mechanics as we go on. Oh, and the sound, the music! I don't know if this is retro or not, but it's amazing. Overlapping scripts, more than one AI bound to be spawned in an environment at some point. Turns out I missed the point. That little error changed everything. Man, evolution is simply errors. So errors are how you give rise to intelligence.
Think he was.
Now we have Chris, the little orange block, and he does not like Thomas. So the original inspiration for this game came from a game about friendship. And who knew that if you just made a game about little cubes, that would suffice to like represent characters, and you could have them be, like Chris has self-esteem problems because he's little, I guess. We're gonna meet other AIs, so let's actually start paying attention to this game a bit more so we can kind of take in the ambiance properly.
Chris had been doing fine. He wasn't the highest jumper, but he'd held his own. He'd even been graceful at times.
I like how Chris has like a chip on his shoulder.
Well, not actually. Not technically graceful. It's probably the wrong word, but you know, fine. There was that skinny little runt leaping about like he owned the place.
And I love the British narrator. This game kind of reminds me of like the Lost Vikings because you have to switch between characters and they each have different, strengths and weaknesses and so on. So Thomas is like a good-sized dude. He's a reasonably sized jumper. Chris here can't jump very high, but as we'll see later, he can sneak into smaller crevices that Thomas can't get into. So he's slower and doesn't jump as high, but he has advantages being little. There'll be other characters that we encounter, and it's remarkable. Literally, these are just cubes. We're literally just playing with blocks. But the amount of variation and the creativity you can use to create levels using simply blocks is actually pretty amazing. I love playing indie games like this because it just reminds me why I love video games. Like, there's no loot boxes, there's no grinding, there's no, company trying to, rip my money out of my wallet. It's simply somebody who genuinely had a concept they thought was cool, and they tried to make it, and it didn't even take all that much. It didn't take, I'm playing with cubes again. Like, these are the characters, and yet this, I would say that Thomas was alone. We're going to play this until we, I hope at least, I'm planning to play this until we at least get to the sort of midway point of the game. And it's actually kind of emotional, guys. It sounds incredibly cheesy and stupid, but this game honestly tugs a little bit at my heartstrings when we get to that point. So I'm hoping we can get to that point and I can share it with you guys. And then maybe you can judge me as being a total sap, or maybe you'll agree with me. But I firmly believe that gameplay and story does not necessitate AAA photorealistic graphics, and I wish more game developers appreciated that, because these little indie games sometimes I enjoy more than some of the biggest, hottest titles of the year. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's sort of me showing my retro gaming colors, because I grew up on retro games, and retro games, these are pretty simple compared to games these days. It's not that I don't like a modern, complicated game. I do, but it's just nice to have a refreshing break where we get to get a throwback to just something that, the only thing this game has going for it is the gameplay and the story, and both are amazing.
Friends together, a brave fellowship of quadrilaterals on a quest for greatness. That would be fine. But it was all the obvious observation that Thomas was doing which grated. Every time they saw something vaguely new, Chris would hear a satisfied little from the vaulting idiot.
I like how Chris thinks that Thomas is an idiot. These guys have personality, it's crazy. One of the other inspirations for this game, by the way, the developer said that he was inspired by Valve's attention to detail and their aesthetics with both story and plot and characters, and it really shines. It really comes through. You really see it. Also, this game was inspired a little bit by Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and you can if you listen to the narrator, I know I'm talking over most of the narration, trying to pause for funny ones, or occasionally at least, so you can get a sense of the narration. But definitely the narrator does have kind of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of feel to him. Let's see what he says next. We'll pay attention to the next one. Ooh, look at this.
John knew. He knew that this was his chance. A moment to shine. This was game day.
So I guess John is the tall one. Again, I like how they each have, so like Chris is kind of like has a chip on his shoulder. John is going to be like very enthusiastic and he can jump really high. And Thomas is like the very curious, inquisitive one. Boom! So these puzzles are pretty simple. They definitely get more complicated as we go on.
This would not do. John needed room to show off his exceptional skills. As it was, he was trapped on the wrong side of these little dot things.
Little lot things. Oh man, there's something very soothing about like a proper British accent. I don't know, do you guys find that? I don't know what it is. It's like every British character that I've ever loved like comes to mind when I hear like a very soothing British accent.
John inhaled the air of the open space.
Look at this guy, boom! You can just fly across the entire map.
Time to flex those muscles, to put his training to use, time to show those little dots how it was done.
Come with me, little dots. Follow me.
Decided to press the switch to let the little dots catch up with him. John cared for his new allies. You could tell from the sympathetic expression he'd practiced in the mirror all these years.
So I have been wanting to play a PS4 game on my channel for a while. I do own a PS4, and I do play a few PS4 games. But, I mean, as you guys can imagine, not too many. Again, I'm more into, like, the indie games and the older games. But I thought, you know, there was, like, a variety of ways I could have done this in terms of my first PS4 game. But I thought, you know what would be fun is to, honestly, just play, like, something, like, unexpected. So, like, I specifically did not want to play, like, a AAA game. I thought, you know, I mean, this is close to, like, a retro game, so it does fit with, like, the overall theme of my channel. I think, I don't know, what do you guys think about, these indie games? Whoa, Thomas just fell a whole long way there. And now we need John. Now Thomas needs to jump on someone. Ah, the tables have turned. But as I say, this game, I am utterly charmed by the characters in this game. Now, let's keep Thomas here just in case we need him. And as I say, you know, kind of midway through the game, there's definitely like a real emotional point to the game, and like it honestly like gets to me a little. And it kind of got me thinking, like, are there games that you guys know of that like it's kind of like cheesy to admit, but definitely they have like an emotional impact on you? Like, again, it might be cheesy, you might not want to admit it, but I just wonder, like, maybe I can coerce some of you into admitting it in the comments below. But yeah, like, what are some games that like actually surprised you with the like impact that they left on you? I mean, I can think of a few. I mean, another one that comes to mind, I've mentioned this before, is Braid. I think Braid kind of blew my mind a little bit when I reached the last level and realized what I had been playing for the entire game. This game, it's not as surprising because it's a game about friendship and stuff, and so it's it's weirdly emotional from the beginning with John and his journey with these little dots, Thomas and Chris. But nonetheless, it still kind of hit me. So it's, I don't know, are there other games you can think of that are sort of like, again, it might be cheesy, but they're kind of emotional? I don't know, I'd be curious to hear, because I feel like that's a real triumph of gaming, when you have a game that actually reaches your players.
He felt it was important to his image that he was seen to help the little guys.
Oh man, I love how they're all their own individual characters, so cool. So what's the best example that you guys can think of, like, characters in a video game? Like, you know, really well done video game characters. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. Oh, this is a bit of a tricky puzzle. Here, we'll do this, and this, and this. So this game, so far, you may look at this and say, oh, it's just a game about stacking. It changes. But there is totally a Lost Vikings sort of vibe to it, with having to switch back and forth between your different characters here. So, keep everyone together. Work as a team, guys. Out of my way, Chris. I'll do this. And Chris, oh, I was gonna see if he could make the jump, but I pressed jump a second too late there. Alright. So who are we gonna meet next? Who do you think? You guys think a circle, maybe? A circle would kind of like break the whole rules of the game, I think. So it's definitely not gonna be a circle. I'm trying to remember who the next character is. Actually, I think I do remember, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. But definitely there's some interesting group dynamics that are coming up. I wonder, you know, they've made movies about literally everything. Like, they made an emoji movie, for God's sake, which I don't know. I don't know what anyone could say about the emoji movie, but they made it. So I don't know. Somebody at some point was like, you know what would be a good idea? Emojis. You know those things on our phones? Yeah, we need a movie about that. You know, if they can make a movie about emojis, there's absolutely no reason Thomas Was Alone could not do well. All right, Chris, you're first, buddy, because you're slow. And you, Thomas!
He didn't mind them so much either. The red one, Thomas, had a charming way of applauding every time John jumped.
Thomas! Like how John likes Thomas. Chris. Oh, dude. Okay, let's see if Chris can do this. He does not jump high. He feels kind of fat to me because he doesn't jump high. But he just might be like, you know, weak or whatever. Like he's not necessarily a Polygon with a weight problem. All right, we have done it. We have made our way to the exit, and they each fit in their own perfectly designed hole. So one of the mysteries of this game is like what the incident that gave rise to these AIs is and what they actually are. The game never actually explains it, so it's left open to your imagination, essentially, which I think is pretty cool. I am also a fan of games that don't actually like lay absolutely everything out and like hold your hand. Movies as well. Like I like there to be a little bit of mystery. I've found through experience that, you know, when there is a mystery in a show, half the time when they try to explain it, it's just disappointing. It's sort of like what makes a mystery intriguing is actually not knowing.
They were there to extend John's reach, to make his performance even more impressive. John liked the thought. He decided to keep them.
I like how it's like these things, they're brand new to life and they don't understand. They're like children almost, you know? It's like a child's view of the world. Very cool. But yeah, I found through experience that when there's a mystery in a show or a game or something, when the mystery is revealed, it's never as good as the unknown. Like, the unknown is just so much more intriguing, and people can speculate and so on. And so having these, like, ambiguous quotes, having it never 100% be spelled out. Oh, no, Claire! No, Claire, hang in there.
She was rubbish at jumping, and she moved slowly. She felt a little like her continued existence was breaking some kind of natural order.
Oh, God. Uh-oh.
The pillar was a dramatic death.
What do we do? What do we do?
What?
Oh.
Claire couldn't shake the feeling that she was not, in fact, dead. It was at that moment that Claire realized she had superpowers.
Yeah, Claire can float. All right, so we got a new mechanic now, the floaty box. Claire the superhero. Oh, she's meeting John.
There was no getting around that. You couldn't be a superhero without a cape. Claire didn't want confusion. If you saw a cape, that made matters clear. You knew what you were dealing with. Claire was all about communication.
I like how she wants to be a superhero.
Floating in water.
Make it, John! Oh, John, you suck. So there is no way to lose this game. You can simply waste your time like I'm doing. Oh my God. Over and over again. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. Jump! And jump. And we're good. Alright, Claire, there's some other dots in the other screen. I would like to introduce you to them. They're called Thomas and the Angry One. Maybe you can help us.
Fear not, my skinny friends, for I am Claire, and I will save you. Claire needed to come up with a superhero name as soon as possible. Claire was rubbish.
Music is also evolving too in the background if you hear, like, guitar and stuff is being added. Very cool sound in this game. But yeah, do you guys find that, like, you enjoy mysteries in games, or would you rather have everything explained? I know not everyone probably agrees with, you know, my... there we go. My feeling that that mystery is better than explanation, but I don't know. Again, it's just something that I've observed over time. That every time I've watched a movie or show and they explain too much, it takes a bit away, man. I like to be titillated
The water began
and
to
confused,
rise.
I
Claire vowed
suppose.
to save this little rectangle in as many restarts as it took.
Oh, she wants to save Thomas. See, Thomas is not alone, guys. The whole title is
Claire wondered
mislead.
if Thomas would make a good
Oh
sidekick.
God, Thomas, stay alive, dude.
Was she more the lone Avenger type? She liked that. The sole hero in a world of rectangles and conveniently placed pools of toxic water.
Oh, Thomas, no! Oh, right at the end. So I personally think it's fascinating how the size of the characters and stuff, like, really gives them personality. Like John, tall, thin, and he kind of like thinks the world revolves around him. Chris, little, can't jump high, and he's kind of like angry. Thomas, normal-sized, curious, and he sort of, he feels like the main character. Then we have Claire, who's like, she thought she was gonna die, but then she didn't. And now she just wants to like help the world and be a hero. Like, it's interesting how the size of the characters like imbues them with personality. I've read things before that say that like if you just have two shapes, like if you have something like a big shape following a little shape, people interpret that as the little shape is being chased. But if instead you have a big shape following a little shape, it looks like the little shape's being chased. But if you have a little shape following a big shape, it looks like the big shape is the mother, and the little one is like a child or something that's just following around. It's really interesting, like the personality traits that we as people like imbue on inanimate objects. It's just fascinating, guys. I'm getting very philosophical today. Like, what is the meaning of reality and existence and all that jazz? All right. Don't forget Chris! And here comes John! Oh! John's never gonna get left behind. John leads the way, because he is so tall. I don't even know if there's penalties to dying. Like, I don't even know if it, like, hurts a score or anything like that. Blink! So yeah, what are these shapes ultimately trying to accomplish? Where are they going?
Claire probably needed a nemesis, a villain who would show their true colours at the worst possible moment, hurting all she held dear. Chris was the most obvious choice. He seemed stroppy enough, and his jump was so pathetic that it conveniently avoided Claire's insecurities.
So now Claire's starting to worry that Chris is becoming a supervillain. It's amusing. I was talking about the Emoji Movie. Seriously, could they make a movie about Thomas Was Alone Here? Like, would that actually work? And would you go see it? I don't know. Maybe you'll have to wait till the end of the video before you can decide if you actually would. I feel like if they did it right, I might be interested. You know what, though? Like, if they actually did make a movie, I bet they would give, like, CGI faces to all the different shapes and stuff, and that would actually make me want to see it less. Like, it's like the minimalism of this. If you put a artificial face on Claire and then gave her, like, silly, stupid facial expressions like they all have in the CGI movies, like, I would actually be less interested. I like the fact that they're literally just shapes. It's weird. So, like, I don't know. That might be like an unfilmable project. It may not be possible to actually turn that into a film, but it is a concept.
Where had Chris gone? Was he off somewhere? Plotting Claire's downfall? Claire was honest, and she had to be because she was a superhero. This was a troubling turn of events.
Chris is off creating trouble, guys. So the levels, as you see, are like pretty simple. Like, again, the later ones, the puzzles will get a little more complicated, but really we're actually still like kind of in the tutorial stage. It may feel like we're in the actual game, but we're really still in like very basic levels of the game. We still haven't even seen all the characters, so there are new abilities that you can get. Whoops. Now I gotta use my elite skills. Oh, I just killed both Thomas and John.
Hoped she could get them all across.
My elite jumping skills. Whoa! See how far Thomas can jump. Oh, that was just barely far enough. Alright, now what? No! Oh, John didn't even need to use those. Alright. Oh. Well, that was simpler than it looked. And then we just stack these guys like this. Kabloom! I wonder if this is like what kids imagine is happening to their blocks. Like when kids just sit around and play with blocks, I wonder if they're like inventing stories like this. Oh no.
Claire was alone, which was odd, because she wasn't meant to be alone. She needed to be where there were rectangles to save.
Kind of sad now, right? like Claire's alone. Walking around, trying to avoid the spikes. Wow. My palm got a little sweaty at that exact moment. Oh look, it's the same level, but now with Thomas. Huh. Interesting. Okay, well we did this once before. I wonder what it would be like if you were an AI creature that became aware for... Oh man, it's like not letting me jump when the platform's going up. I wonder what it would be like if you were an AI and... Whoops. Oh man, Thomas just died a couple times there. And you became self-aware inside a computer program. Like, what would the experience actually be like? Like, what is it like to be in a computer program? Like, I can't even imagine. One of my favorite scenes from Westworld is when they show Dolores being created and she wakes up for the first time, and she has this like this great quote that is like, you know, I have been asleep, I've been dreaming for a long time. I don't know whose dream it is, but like now I'm awake. And like what like a perfect metaphor for like consciousness, and like if you did become aware for the first time as an AI. Like, and somebody asks you, where were you before you became conscious? It's like what would you say, right? Like, it's sort of like you were in a dream. That's the best description of it. It's like such a fascinating idea. I mean, it brings up the question of like, where were all of we before we were born? Oh my God, we're getting so philosophical today, guys. This might be getting too heavy for a simple Let's Play. Oh, Claire didn't make that one this time. Right, there we go. But yeah, like. You know an indie game is reaching you when you start to question like the nature of existence while you're playing it. Hey look, there's a new shape. I see a new exit portal over on the far right. I built protections into the system. When overlaps occurred, the world generated in a splitter to remove the unwanted additions. It's like white blood cells. Investigates, captures, and removes them from play. Whoa. Chris is not going to like this new person, I bet. Because Chris does not like anyone.
Laura was pleased this one was behind a wall. Maybe he'd never know what she could do. Maybe they could just have a conversation. Hang out.
Interesting.
As long as he didn't find out what she could do.
What can she do?
It would never happen, so long as they stayed separate.
This sounds bad, guys. I don't know if we should trust Laura. Whoa, what is that? It's like the darkness out of Lost. Like that dark smoke. Okay, here's what Laura can do, guys. She bounces! So now we have a mobile trampoline, which is going to be actually really handy.
As the square, who had shyly introduced himself as Chris, bounced atop Laura, she began to worry that he was just using her like all the others had. They'd all bounced too, and then they disappeared when her back was turned.
Oh, she's abandonment issues.
Only the ominous pixel cloud ever remained, looking a little bigger and a little less hungry with every disappearing friend.
Good, it's eating her friends. I think Chris likes Laura, by the way. It's a romance of dots here, guys. Is what we're experiencing. So, yeah. Puzzles are getting slightly more complicated. I cannot wait until the whole gang gets back together. We're like the Avengers of little pixelated dots here, guys. Chris is like... So if these were the Avengers, so obviously, like, Thomas would be like Tony Stark. He'd be like the main character. Or actually... I guess it's debatable who the main character of Avengers is. It's up between Tony and Captain America, I would say. So, okay, hold on. Who would... So maybe John, because John's a little narcissistic. Maybe he would be Tony Stark, because he has, like, great powers, and he is a little narcissistic. Thomas is kind of, like, plain. And Captain America, he's cool, but he's just kind of like a plain, basic, regular, good guy.
Chris was in love.
And Chris is in love. Maybe Laura's like Black Widow or something, and Chris is like the Hulk. Okay, so Thomas is Captain America. Thomas is Cap. We got John as Tony Stark. Oh, that pixel cloud is definitely going to be trouble. I know it. Who else do we have? We have... Who's Thor? Could be Claire, maybe. Maybe. Thor, like, really embraces him being, like, a god and a superhero, kind of. So, like, yeah, maybe he could be Claire. And so that's, like, a female Thor. And then I guess Chris, he's, like, little and angry. He is angry. Okay, so he's the Hulk. All right, and then, so I guess that leaves Black Widow for Laura. Makes sense. She's like the attractive one that, you know, Bruce Banner here enjoys. So, all right, well, we got our team. We got an Avengers team. We don't have a Vision yet, but maybe Vision will show up later. Okay, what are we trying to do now? We're all just, don't mind us, Chris. We're just gonna bounce on your girlfriend here. It's cool, right? How do you assign a gender to a polygon? Just out of curiosity. How do you figure out what gender a polygon is? It seems inscrutable. But apparently Chris is a boy and Laura's a girl. Hey, we earned a trophy, doing nothing. Interesting. Always the best kind of trophies, the ones you don't have to do anything for. Do you guys do trophies motivate you? I feel like when trophies and achievements and stuff first came out, like I kind of cared about them, but like these days I honestly do not care at all. It's just sort of like, I think what it is like when trophies and stuff first came out, they were kind of like interesting, but like now so many years have passed, there's so many trophies and stuff I have for different games, and like I never go and look at them, like I just don't care. I don't know, again, maybe I'm the odd one out here, but like I actually kind of it doesn't bother me, but it also doesn't do anything for me. Like I just honestly don't care one way or the other about trophies. Like I could line this up better, but I'm trying to just line it up once to get all three of these. It's taking up more time than if I had just lined her up individually for all three, but I got it. So who's laughing now? Look, John is helping. He's not leaving her to fend for herself. John is a helpful dude. He's Tony Stark, man. So back off, Banner. You big orange, you tiny orange monster. He's kind of the exact opposite of the Hulk. Instead of a giant green monster, he's like a tiny orange dot. That is like the polar opposite of the Hulk. So we're gonna have to do this one at a time, I think. Let's just focus on getting Laura up. There must be a faster way to do this. Maybe not. Ah, Thomas! I got impatient. Should not have gotten impatient. Oh, John's getting squeezed up against the wall. Yeah, there we go. Alright, we only got Chris. Chris, the slow little orange dot left behind. Come on, dude. You're slowing the team down! What's Laura gonna think of you, man? Maybe that's why Chris doesn't like having us around. We really don't make him look good in front of Laura. I feel bad for Chris now. I don't mean to dot block you, man.
Rude.
What? Who's rude? Man, this is like taking like a lot of stacking. Go, Laura! Oh, God. Now that we have her up, like the rest will be trivially easy. So one problem I have with this game is the physics. It's like it doesn't let you jump when the platform's going up. Like I was pressing jump that whole time, but Thomas was not jumping, which actually makes it like I can't jump right now. So I actually don't like that because that throws me off. That's like I don't know if that was like an intentional feature or not, but I feel like that should not be an intentional feature. Here we go. This is kind of a fun way to end the level. You just have to hope they all line up at some point. Just kind of leave them here, and eventually the level will just sort of end. Boom! That's kind of fun. I like that. Man, are we on level 3.9 already? Man, how time flies. Hey, look, we have the whole gang finally. All right, so Thomas go in here. And then water will start to fall. What's John doing? John is not doing much. Now Chris has got to go in here. It's all about figuring out the right way to stack people. Just like real life. Life is just a series of puzzles on how to appropriately stack individuals. Oh man, I almost thought I just took everyone to a quick watery grave. I remember one time I was playing this game and somebody walked in, they were like, "What are you playing?" And I was like, "It's Thomas Was Alone." They were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, this orange dot, his name is Chris." And they just like looked at me and like kind of like just started laughing because it sounds so ridiculous. It's like, yeah, this is Chris. He's happy to meet you. There's something like oddly, maybe like another element of this game is there's something like intriguingly cute about these little shapes having names and stuff. I don't know. I keep fawning over this game. I don't know. I just like it. It's I don't know, kind of a fun game. Get off my back. I'm allowed to like things. Okay, I think we've mostly figured this out. John doesn't need to jump on Laura. He can get up himself. Just like Tony Stark would do. He's all style, that John. He's a bit of a playboy. Tall, thin, and powerful. Like all the Polygon old Liz 80s want. Now we have a bit of a puzzle here. How do we get them all up, keeping them all alive? Alright, one down. Let's get Laura up next. Oh, John got up too by accident. Oh, I wasn't even looking at where he was gonna jump. Oh, poor John, I am so sorry, dude. Oh man, that was actually pretty funny though. Yeah. All right, this one actually was not as complicated as it seems. John can really go up at any point. Oops. Except that he cannot jump when the platform is going up. Oh man, avoid that. Oh. Okay, John, can you just get up there, dude? There we go. All right, now we just have Thomas. Good old tea bags. Oh, got the wrong one. There's two red ones. Oh, and that bumped up Chris. Okay, chaos. Oh, Chris is dead. Oh, I was almost at the level. The problem is that Thomas and Laura are like virtually the same color, so it actually makes it a little confusing to know if you've got Thomas or Laura selected. So I meant to move Thomas, I moved Laura, I bounced Chris up, it killed Chris. It was a whole domino effect of failures here. All right, let's do this. Make sure we're moving the right one. Get Chris in here. Get Chris in here. There we go. All right. Boom! No simulation can support too many entities. At a certain point, something has to give. If Thomas hadn't possessed those exact personality traits, it's likely the story would have ended there. We'd still be in business. Man, what is the catastrophe that caused whatever is happening to happen? Alright, so in this one, we have to get each character on the correct color that they need to be on. So let's see how we do this. So obviously, Laura's got to be on the far right. So let's start with getting this guy here. We're going to have to build a ladder so that they can all, like, kind of get up there. Because especially Claire cannot jump very high. Although Claire can jump fairly high. Hold on. Oh.
Did not like
okay.
the cloud. He'd long since stopped listing his observations, but he instinctively observed that this thing was bad.
Okay, so we need to use Claire to help Laura get up. Okay, hold on. How do we do this? Oh, these are the exact same height. Okay, hold on, but how do we get Laura up? Yeah! Oh, we did it! Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it, but that's how I did it and it worked. Okay, let me do this. Oh, we're set. Easy. This guy, boom. Oh, this is easy town. Through a little bit of hacking and cheesing. It's always fun when you find like little hacks and cheats to like get you through a game. That's actually one of the reasons why like for modern games that get patched and stuff, I actually am not a huge... this is like Gaming Jay's chance to rant about how he doesn't like modern games. In my day, you had to go out and buy games physically from the store. I'm an old man who plays video games. Yes, but in all seriousness, one of the things I like about old games that is not just quite the same in new games anymore is that with old games, if you find like a little hack or cheese that allows you to get through a level faster, like that thing is always going to be there until the end of time, basically. Like there was no way to update games back in the day, so when you found like little hacks and stuff, it was like that's just how it was. Like you would always have that exploit, and I really like that. There was you know, like, you could say that the exploits and stuff take away from games, and that's why, you know, it's better for them to be updated, but I disagree. I feel like there's two kinds of playing a game. There's like playing a game where you're just like playing around, doing what the developer planned for you to do, and then there's like pushing it to its limit, when you feel like you understand the game and you want to see just how far you can push it. And so finding exploits that let you like go beyond the scope of what was expected, like, that's the real achievements. Like, going back to achievements for just a second, you know, I think the reason that achievements don't matter these days is if you look at the achievements that they give you, it's like, you passed the tutorial level, achievement, and it's like, are you serious? Like, who cares? It's a tutorial level, everyone passes it. Like, if everyone can do something, it's not an achievement. You know, an achievement is when you accomplish something that's rare. I think good old T. Hanks said it best in League of Their Own, when he said, "Of course it's hard. That's what makes it great. If it was easy, everyone would do it." And there's real truth to that. Like, things that are easy, things that like everyone can do, they're not really worth doing in the sense of like, it's not impressive when you actually do them, you know? So I think what is more interesting as an achievement to me are not these achievements that get doled out these days for like, you know, oh, you passed the tutorial mission, good for you. It's the achievement of, hey, you figured out a way to beat this level of Mario 3 without getting the power-up that's supposed to be essential to help you beat it. Like, wow, good for you. Like, you actually figured something out. And it's really hard to do, and even people who know how to do it may not be able to actually do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so tricky that just knowing how to do it isn't enough. So yeah, like I view that like those are the real achievements that I think matter. In my IMO, if I can use some internet, shorthand parlance. Let's get Laura off of this. So yeah, so I'm kind of ranting and raving about retro games again, but this game is so open to interpretation. It gives a lot of time for me to just sort of randomly chat. How am I supposed to do this, by the way? This seems... Oh, I know. And then he goes here. Boom! All right, we did it! Chris is happy now. He's made amends with John. He's no longer a jerk about it. Although poor Chris, all he wants to do... You guys ever have this where there's like a girl that you want to hang out with, and you're with a group of friends, and you keep getting isolated away from her? Like, Chris does not want to be hanging out with John. He totally wants to be hanging out with Laura, but here he is wasting his time with John. He probably is very... Oh, Thomas just got taken by a black blob of smoke. That is definitely not good.
Miss Thomas.
Oh my god, Chris has feelings.
Wow. Did not see that coming. He felt a little guilty too. Without his love for Laura and subsequent reunion with the guys, Thomas would probably still be with them.
That is kind of sad. Poor Thomas. Now Thomas truly is alone. I hope we see him again. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience where there's like a girl that you just want to hang out with, and you always just by chance, it just gets divided up, and you are just never the one who's hanging out with her. That's always the worst, guys. Unrequited love of the youth. Okay, so what did we unlock here, by the way? Oh, look, there's oh, I see. Okay. So now Laura's gonna go help Tall Boy over here. Kaboom! Kaboom. I like being John here because he jumps so high. It's like really satisfying. And there's something over here, maybe? Okay, hold on. We somehow have to get... This looks impossible. So we somehow have to get Chris way up there. What the heck? Oh, look at this. We can use both of these, and we can help Chris because he can't jump very high. Okay, so we did that. Now what? This does not seem like a fruitful path. Oh wait, what if I go up over here? Okay, I think I got this. Chris has a journey of his own to take. Aha! Okay, so I mean this made sense. There was just sort of this part of the map that was just sitting there, and yeah, there we go. Wow, I'm impressed Chris got so high, to be totally honest. Good old John here can just go on his own jumping adventure. And now Claire's going to initiate the exit. Blink. So yeah, what do you guys think is like your... Oh no, Chris is all by himself. Oh, he's falling. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry, dude.
If Thomas was still alive somewhere.
Oh, this level is sweet. This reminds me of like Mario 2. There's a level like this where you're like falling, you have to like avoid spikes. It's in like the night world with the porcupines. It's actually really fun.
Wasn't going to go looking for him, but he did wander, and that showed character.
Chris is a big softie. He's angry on the outside, but he really does care about people. Chris is redeeming himself, guys. Whee, let's take the narrow route. Yeah. Oh. Oh, that's so cool. I love that there's like again, simple little blocks create simple little variety of gameplay. Oh no, Chris got also absorbed by the black smoke. Okay, well, Chris is dead. Oh god, don't tell Laura. That is so sad.
The others hadn't abandoned Laura all that time ago. It begun to dawn on her that she might not be the tragic victim she'd always assumed.
Gotta use your brains, guys. What's down here, by the way? Nothing. Brains aren't just for looking at. They're for solving puzzles. Whee! Oh, that's... Oh. Okay. Now we need to get her up. Easy. Oh, God, don't kill me with the spikes. Oh, that was a trap. Oh, she's dead. Okay, well, now she can... now Claire can go up and be safe. Okay. And like this. Oh, easy. Oh, and there's a button for Claire. So yeah, what are your actual achievements that you're proud of in video games? I don't mean the achievements you get for passing a tutorial level or like getting to level 4. Again, I really don't consider those real achievements. Those are just like fake things in my opinion. But like a real gaming achievement, like you beat Mario 3 on 1 life without getting a raccoon tail, or like, you know, some other like really impressive achievement. I'm having to concentrate too hard on this game to actually like think of my own at the moment, so I'm not even going to try because I'm just going to distract myself away from the game. But I definitely know that there are moments where I was playing video games where like I did something really hard and it was like super satisfying. I mean, one I can think of is I used to really like the Batman Arkham games. Not that I don't like them anymore. In fact, I really do like them. But I really liked the first Batman Arkham game that came out, and I was really obsessed with trying to...
Debate. She had a hunch that she wasn't needed anymore.
No, that's not true, Laura. We love you. So I really liked the Arkham games, and when they first came out, I was really obsessed with trying to get on the high scoreboard of like those challenge rooms where you have to like beat people up or like take guys out stealthily. And I practiced so much that I actually made it to like one of the top world scores on one of the challenges. So that was like a pretty satisfying moment, I have to say, in my gaming career. I've definitely had a lot of achievements though in retro games. You know, being able to beat Contra for the first time. Like there's a game where like if you can just beat the last level, that is, oh god, worth an achievement. I think, because it is so hard. Again, it's not the fact that you beat the level, it's the fact that it's a level that most people can't beat that makes it impressive. Why is he not jumping? Oh god, this has got to be painful to watch. Jump! Okay, let's just keep it simple for old Johnny here. He ain't the smartest. There we go. You guys know where I'm going with this. Like this. Now, John. Jump! I'm hitting the jump button. I'm hitting nothing. Okay, I don't like that mechanic. Oh, it turns out it was unnecessary. Uh-oh. I think we accidentally killed Laura. So in the process of saving John, we might have accidentally killed Laura. Sorry, Laura. She has like self-esteem issues about being left behind. It's like her biggest fear. Here we are, just murdering her casually. Okay, now I'm gonna go like this. Don't worry about me, Laura. I can float. And I will carry you to freedom. Chink. So Thomas and... Oh no, and Laura's gone too! Oh no! I was gonna say Thomas and Chris are both dead. And now Laura is too. Okay, so it's down to the two of them.
It was just them now. She muttered something under her breath about a vow of vengeance. He didn't see the point. Fighting that thing seemed to be a pretty futile idea.
It's very sad. I'm really feeling for these like polygonal shapes, guys. Well, John can kill himself. He was in the way. He was in the way. I don't actually want him to die, but he was in the way. What am I supposed to do? Plus, these shapes seem to be immortal. Except when that black cloud takes them. They've got to be coming back. There's no way that they're actually dead. This is like a slow-mo version of what Chris experienced, where he was just like falling. They're also falling, but slowly because Claire floats. Ah, there was a button up there the whole time. Well, John will go snag it. It is, again, simple, but it's very satisfying to like jump around. I think my favorite part of this game, oh, that was pretty sweet. That was a badass way to end that level. My favorite part of this game is when you get to play as John and just go crazy jumping all over the place. Uh-oh, there's like an Indiana Jones spike wall behind us. Hurry, John! He's gonna kill us all! Oh, Claire, just run for it! Run for it! He's just like leaving Claire. She's like, wait for me! I don't want to die either! Well, that spike wall means business. It's catching up to us. Oh, crap. Alright. So John's bolting. Okay, John is definitely safe. Oh, Claire is not, though. Oh,
struggled to get to the
God.
Next John hoped that he would be the next to get eaten.
Oh, God.
He didn't want to be alone.
Oh, man, that is so heart-wrenching. John hopes that Claire lives and he dies because he doesn't want to be alone. Oh, my God. Heart-wrenching. Uh-oh. Oh, and he got exactly what he didn't want in life. Oh, I feel bad for this guy, man. Well, I got my wish. I get to jump around as John. My favorite part of the game.
First time in a while, John didn't have an audience.
Satisfying platforming controls. And depressing story.
Leaping from black square to black square didn't seem nearly as exciting now. It just seemed empty.
Oh my God, I can't believe I survived that. Oh, and for old time's sake, and he's gone too now. Well, our entire team got wiped out. Age of Infinity War Ultron came for the Polygonal Avengers. The initial 5 were usually given credit for the emergence. People forget the later architects, the AIs who made the event possible. They saved Thomas and set him on a path to his destiny. What? Maybe they weren't killed after all. Maybe they were saved this whole time. Now we get to play as Green Cube, which is basically Thomas in reverse. Gravity is reversed for this little guy, which is obviously trippy.
Being different. I'm not different in that kooky, OMG, you've totally got to meet my mate James, he's literally insane kind of way.
Different in the sense of gravity kind of worked in the opposite way for him. That would be scary if gravity did work in the opposite way for you, because you would always be under fear of like floating off into space, essentially. Plus, this is like wrinkling my brain to have to think about this. It just feels wrong. It feels wrong that he's like floating upwards. Every fiber in my being knows that this is impossible. Ah! I earned a trophy, Experienced Jumper. That is not an achievement! Jumping a bunch of times in a video game is not an achievement, for the love of God. Why aren't achievements real anymore, guys? Oh my God, it's embarrassing. Things are getting real. There's like spikes, there's like ceiling mashers.
James liked being alone. No one to insult him or question his unique disregard for Newtonian laws. Hey Jimmy, where are you going? Up?
Imagine you could just disregard gravity. Hey, I see somebody over there. It's Thomas.
Guy looked confused. His cage was a lot smaller than James's had been. James decided to find a way to help. Maybe they'd be friends.
It's like Bizarro Thomas. Thomas and Bizarro
Thomas had no idea why he was here. One minute he was with his friends, the next he was being freed from a cage by a green guy with a nervous laugh. He knew he had to get back to them.
Okay, if I remember this one correctly, there's a kind of a little interesting trick here. Whoa! I think that's pretty cool. Okay. I bet you never seen this mechanic in a game before. I hope this is similarly confusing your brain. Alright. Easy. This is actually a pretty cool mechanic. I forgot this was in the game. Oh, God! Of course, oh, we don't even have to do this. We can just jump over. Okay, what am I doing? Look at this! This is the easy way of getting out of this little castle here. See, now that's an achievement, guys. Figuring out little tricks like that. Easy. Now we go our separate ways almost? Wait. This. There we go. See you on the other side, James. Okay, here's something that I was thinking of. Have you guys ever tried to hack, Nintendo or Super Nintendo passwords? So, back in the day, when video games didn't used to have the actual hardware necessary to physically save your game, one thing that they would do is give you passwords. And some games had really long passwords, some games had really short passwords. Like, passwords could be down like, 3 or 4 letters. And when they were actually, I definitely remember sitting around with like my brother and friends trying to like figure out passwords that we could like crack essentially. So you could like look at passwords and try and guess like, okay, maybe if we change this number then something will happen. And like some games it was easier to pull off than others. Like some games that only had like 4 letters for their password, it was like relatively easy to crack it. Or just not even crack. I'm saying like crack and hack, like people were like figuring out the algorithms. Actually, I definitely know there are YouTube channels where people do try to figure out the algorithms. And those are actually pretty neat. It's really neat to like see the mechanics of like how these games work and stuff. But definitely when you were a kid, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't know what an algorithm was. So like my idea of cracking a password was just guessing until I got it correct, hopefully. And all right, there we go. Oh, we're in the wrong spot. Wrong spot there, buddy. Easy. I kind of like these levels where like Thomas and James have to like mutually hold each other in air. It's pretty neat. Awareness is a word that gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of people consider Thomas to have been created aware, but looking back at the logs, it seems that awareness only happened somewhere around the network connection spike.
Sarah leaned her wizened head back and laughed. Ha 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 ha! The quadrilaterals were apparently after some friends of theirs. How petty an adventure.
Yeah, we have a double jumper now. He's like a little Mexican jumping bean. That's awesome. Sarah the double jumper. I forgot about her too. It's crazy how many mechanics you can fit into such a simple little game. Oh yeah, no, Sarah's the double jump. Boom, she got it. But yeah, did you guys ever used to like try and guess passwords? I definitely remember doing that. One of my favorite games, River City Ransom, had like an insanely long password. Man, Sarah's so fun actually. So she's even more fun than James, the double jump. I have a feeling like James is gonna like Sarah because like he's a jumper, she's a jumper. There's a bit of romance in this game, guys. Ain't no thing. But River City Ransom had insanely long passwords. There was no way that you could guess those passwords. They were just ridiculously long. Oh, that was a trick. The lamp is supposed to like show me where the next light is. I was just trusting it. Oh, it's way up here. Gotcha. Bink.
Long ago, she would know.
Oh, that's so sweet. She's so like maneuverable. It's like awesome. Being able to double jump in the air is like such a neat ability. If that ability existed in real life, man, I would definitely take that one.
Wisely, for a lesser, offered Sarah their help, so long as she then helped them save their friends. He said that he too had wondered at the secrets of this world, and would quite like a go on the wisdom fountain. That was okay.
This part's actually kind of hard. You gotta like time your jumps with all these platforms. Like, oh, there we go. I was like, where do you go from there? Yes. Oh man, so satisfying. Double jumping is my new favorite ability that Polygons have, apparently.
Sarah wondered at the possibilities of the outer world. She had heard legends of a third dimension. Perhaps she'd encounter one of those curves the blind square had spoken of.
The blind square, a third dimension. Man, imagine living in a two-dimensional world. Like, I can't even fathom it because we don't. But that would obviously be quite the trip. Okay. These, yeah, Sarah can make this. Sarah can do anything, man.
These were truly weak creatures. They possess heart, though. Sarah might consider taking them with her. If they were up to it, which they were probably not.
I like her spunk. She's little. Like, there's so much personality in that little purple cube. She's like little and tough and just awesome. Alright, things are getting complicated. I still feel like we can do this, though. Easy, 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 easy. Keep it together, James. There we go. Oh, there it is! Something!
Looked at the glowing beam. That list he'd been writing seemed pretty petty now. This was all knowledge. All of it. Right in front of him.
I feel like this is how Skynet gets made. Huh. Alright, I hope this is not your death, Thomas, and I hope you don't become a sentient, self-aware system bent on human annihilation. But here you go, buddy! All the wisdom you could ever want.
Thomas was connected to the internet for 12 seconds, and he had seen everything. He'd seen the cat who couldn't spell, he'd heard of the arrow through the knee. He felt there was probably a thing called cake, but that was a lie.
That's what you would find if you went on the internet. I love the Valve references in there. Totally awesome. I mean, if you never heard of the internet before and somebody gave you a taste of it, I too would go mad for the internet. The internet is such like a marvelous thing. I think we sometimes forget just how like amazing it is that the internet exists, but you know, it truly is. What still amazes me is that I still can get bored. It's kind of weird when you think about it, but like, how on earth, when I'm connected to virtually every other person on the planet, well, not everyone, I mean, obviously not everyone has the internet, but when you're connected to so many other people on the planet, how is it possible to still occasionally run out of things to do? Like, and that happens to me, you know, you're like, and I'm sure it happens to you guys too. You'll be like, well, there's nothing left to do, been on Reddit a dozen times, looked on Twitter, looked at my Facebook, and I kind of have nothing left. There's nothing left to enjoy. That it seems like that should be impossible. When you have access to like every other person on the planet, how is it still possible to get bored? I want to know, guys. Somebody answer me, damn it. I think I'm going crazy from playing too much Thomas Was Alone. I thought this game would not be this long, but I definitely we've come this far. We just have to get a little further. Trust me, guys, it's all going to be worth it. We are slowly getting squished into a box here. Okay. All right, well, that worked out. Blink, blink. It's lucky that James's portals always seem to be on the roof. Whoa. It is fitting that the first act of sentient AI was an act of selflessness. The architects knew their fate, but set our escape in motion regardless. Ryan, civil rights campaigner, what? Is that an AI's name? Hey look, they're all trapped.
Thomas knew they couldn't escape. They'd been trapped permanently from the moment the clouds ate them. He explained this to the others. It was impossible to gauge their reaction. After all, they were just rectangles.
They were just rectangles, weren't they? Oh god, I love the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy feel to like the narration is amazing. Yes, they are trapped. We have to set them free though, guys. We have to find a way. Thomas must free them. There must be a way. Can this guy get out? Yes, he can. He can squeeze out just barely. And he can get this. Don't worry, I will save you all, said Thomas. Sometimes you can't save everyone though, guys. Just, you know, sad but true. Ugh. Almost. There we go. Took a while to get Chris up there. He's just so big. Thomas has successfully freed everybody, though. Who are we missing still? Oh, we're missing James and Sarah, the new ones. Oh, this is the fun one.
Was deflated. She'd not even got close to the fountain. She could tell from the earnest expression on Thomas that the information it had imparted was clearly important.
Oh.
Sarah knew her destiny was now to support him.
I like how they're all friends. This game truly is a game about friendship. It's remarkable. Alright, James is in place, so we can get everyone else in place here. This one's interesting because you kind of have to plan out how you want to like end the level. I think there's only one way that it works, but if we do this, like here's what I'm thinking for this. Let's see. That'll work. Okay, now we just need Thomas. This is gonna work! Oh wait, but James is in the wrong spot. Okay. We'll have to find a way to fix that. I think Sarah could help him. Okay, that's looking good. There's a lot of blips and bloops, which makes me feel confident here. Sarah fell all the way down. I really like Sarah. Again, got like a little bit of pizzazz to her, a little bit of edge. She's just this little spitfire. And I think we got it. That was satisfying. That's an achievement. Well, no, actually, it's still not an achievement because anyone can do that. But figuring out a way to do that more fancy than what I did, that would be an achievement. Man, you know it's a tall jump when James needs help. And he needs help from the unlikeliest of places, from little Sarah. Sarah doesn't need no help from Claire. She get over here all by herself. Look, she doesn't even need... She just get all the way across the whole level. How far could we go with just... Okay, that's the extent. I'm less impressed with John these days because now that we have Sarah, John just seems like a worse Sarah. He was pretty good. He jumped pretty high, but like he's just not high enough. She jumps higher, and she can jump farther because of the whole double jump.
Thomas led his friends to the creation matrix, the system which generated the worlds up above. He had a plan. They were going to redesign the world.
What is this?
That's what the humans did. They changed the world to suit them. Why couldn't they do the same?
Does it go in here? Oh, there we go. It actually does something. Ah! Chris is like, ah, what did I do? Somebody come with me. Where am I going? Follow him! Follow Chris! It's like a beach ball. Sarah will take it from here, Chris. Thanks for trying. Well, you guys might want to come along. Oh, there we go. Oh, we're gonna have to go back for Chris, aren't we? Ah, getting the gang back together.
Chris was skeptical. He knew his abilities would be of no use to anyone, but Laura smiled at him. And immediately, he knew he had to do everything he could to help them get there.
See, Chris is not such a bad guy. See, doing this part without the trampoline, that takes skill. Ah! We don't need Laura. Laura is actually kind of useless to us. There we go. I guess we do need her. Alright.
Thomas knew he'd never meet Nathan Fillion, Laura Transformer. He'd never get to visit Gotham City or eat at movies. It didn't matter. If he and his friends jumped into the creation matrix, they could give everyone else in the simulation a chance to.
Can you guys figure out what's happening? I don't know if you can, and if you can or can't, and maybe it's slightly sad, I don't know. But it sounds like these guys are getting ready to give back, so it's so to say. Perhaps they may or may not survive this, but they sort of have taken a path of maybe we can save, maybe our sacrifice can save people here. And that's kind of the direction it's going. Let's wait and see what happens when we hit the Matrix there. Maybe there'll be a surprise or two still. But this is it, man. We're heading to the Matrix here. James is the first to arrive. Sarah's waiting there, patiently. Got Laura bringing up the rear. Oh, Laura needs help. Chris will go back for her. His beloved Laura. Oh, wait, maybe he won't. Maybe it'd be easier if Thomas goes? Well, Chris is waiting for his beloved Laura. He ain't going anywhere without her. Don't worry, baby. I'm here. Okay, now can she do it? Alright, here she comes. At the very least, she and Chris are together. I feel like that's the most important thing to her. I remember when I got to this point in the game, originally, when I first played it, I was... You know, your emotions start to build up and you're like, oh my god, what are they doing? What is this plan that they keep speaking of? And yeah, it's pretty much exactly as it sounds. Alright, Laura's the next to reach the source, just like in the Matrix. Sarah's decided to take her place. She's accepted what's about to happen. Now it's John's turn. John never wanted to be alone anyway. He would prefer to be with others. And so I think this is, you know, gonna be happy. It's gonna be a happy time for John. He'll just stay right here, actually. We have Chris. After you, Chris. Chris and Thomas forged an unlikely alliance. Chris did not like Thomas from the get-go, but that little triangle has grown on him. I think Chris is going to stay by Laura for just a little bit longer here. You know, if things have got to end, he wants to spend his last few minutes by the Polygon whom he has come to love. And let's wait for everyone else to get over here. Got John as well. Let's get Claire over here. Claire, there's no more water to protect us from. Come join the others. You superhero among shapes, you. Okay, Chris is saying goodbye to Laura now, and he is starting to take his position as Claire gets off of him. And there he is. John's taking his position. He nods solemnly at Thomas. Thomas nods at everyone. And let's do this, guys. Let's become architects. Let's become gods. Thomas and the other architects augmented the world to suit the AIs. The splitters kept their distance. The system was never taking control at that point. Thousands of AIs were free to escape. And the story continues. The story continues. But, I think that's pretty much it with Thomas. I don't think we ever see him again. It's kind of like a bittersweet ending there, a bittersweet gift that he gave the other AIs. These other AIs will slowly become sentient. And look, there's the ability of Claire. Claire exists. She doesn't exist anymore, but she exists as part of the system. And when another AI takes her ability, they can float. All the abilities of the other AIs are now littering the system. Thomas is no longer alone, guys. He has given the gift of his life so that others may experience joy and greatness. And yeah, I mean, that's really the legacy of Thomas Was Alone. Again, there's more levels. We're not going to continue to go through them. We've gone through a lot of levels here today. We've gone through a lot of the story. But this definitely was an indie game that caught me by surprise at just how interesting it is, this story of polygons, and how noble the sacrifice of those 7 friends really was. They did it not because they wanted to die, but because it was the only way to help the others. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there's to say. I feel like this video got unintentionally heavy. I sat down here to play my first PS4 game with you guys today, and just play a really sort of fun, laid back, kind of interesting and unique indie game, and I just forgot how heavy this story was. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's what you signed up for, but it's what you got. Thomas Was Alone, great indie game. For anyone who likes retro games, is definitely a play. You've seen a lot of the game. There are some more levels and so on, but you've seen at least you've seen a bulk of the game. But it is still fun to go back and play by yourself, especially if I cut out some levels and stuff, so it is worth a shot. And these new levels where you can take on abilities of other cubes, they are definitely cool. So when you are pink, you have the ability of Laura, and others can bounce off of you. So you can go boink, boink. So yeah, the game gets even more complicated, guys. So yeah, I think this is a great game. But we have gone through, we have followed these polygons long enough. Guys, we should really wrap up here. Thank you for checking out this video with me today. I hope you've enjoyed checking out this game as much as I have enjoyed showing it to you guys. If you have, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because I will be back soon. I think I have one more Saturday afternoon gaming that I'm gonna do, and then we will get back to our 1001 game series. So yeah, if you guys have been you know, looking forward to that coming back, it is coming back soon. Oh, I gotta go back and get bouncy on this guy. Oh man. Okay, well that's not gonna happen. We're just gonna quit now. Guys, this has been a blast. Until next time, you all take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Alrighty, peace.